Welcome back everybody for this super late video from a face-up from last year June. After cleaning, prepping and sealing the doll, I start with the first layer. I match my doll's head to the body with a pale yellow pastel. My doll's body is a normal skin yellow body from Longsole, while the head is an asleep Eidolon blueberry in normal skin. So they don't really match. I use a larger brush to slightly dust on the yellow pastel. The sealant I use is Tamiya TS80 Flat Clear, as MSC is not available in my country. After sealing again, I use a peachy skin tone type color to blush parts of the face which would have a natural flush, like the cheeks, around the nose, inside and behind the ears, the eyelids, the chin, the jaw, the forehead, etc. I also use a cotton swab or a tissue paper to help blend the color. I also use a very wide brush to sweep off the excess pastel. I cover my fingers with masking tape to make sure I can hold onto the doll without getting any oils or dirt from my hands onto the doll. And I stuff the doll's head with some tissue paper to prevent the mess from getting in the inside of the head. After sealing again, I start with a darker pinky peach color pastel to blush the lips, inside the ears, the cheeks, inside and around the nostrils, the inner eyelids, and a little around the eyes, the eyelid crease, a tiny bit on the forehead and around the sideburns where the wig would more or less be. Also, on the same layer, add some red pastel to the upper eyelid for a bit of eyeshadow, a bit on the lips to darken them, and I use a kneaded eraser to shape the lines. I also add a bit to the inner lower eyelid. After another layer of sealant, I add more of the peachy pink to the lips, being careful of the shape and using a kneaded eraser to fix the shape when necessary. I add it to the cheeks and the eyelids as well. And by that point you can see that the tissue paper inside the head has already been discolored, so just imagine what kind of a mess would be inside the head by then. Next, I use a burnt sienna type brown pastel, and using a mini Felicia's head's face up as a reference, I start adding the eyebrow shapes, using a kneaded eraser to refine the shape to my liking. I constantly turn the head and measure the distances to try and get the eyebrows even. If you're not sure, take a break and come back later, as the eyebrows are some of the most important features of the face-up. After sealing, in this new layer, I simply darken up some of the colors by repeating what I did in the previous layer. And after sealing again, I'm going to use a light brown acrylic paint to do the eyeliner for the upper eyelids. I just prefer a lighter color rather than black. Sorry for the terrible angle, but I need to get close and personal with the paint details. When I'm happy with that, I use white acrylic paint and start on the hairs on the eyebrows and eyelashes, once again using the leash as face up as a reference. The acrylic paint I'm using dries very slowly, so when I make a mistake I can easily just use some water to wipe off what I did wrong. It might not seem like much, but having a nice face up as a reference next to you can really help getting your mind into how thin the lines could or should be. And sometimes when you don't have a reference, it can turn out very differently. This face up was actually done twice. The first time without the reference, and she had super bushy brows, which looked fine but wasn't what I was going for. So I had to start all over again. And to keep the thinness of the lines, I add pretty much after each singular stroke a new bit of paint to the brush. Then I use a watercolor pencil to add a few tiny lip lines and some highlights on the upper eyelid. somehow I've never been able to get my pencil as sharp as I want to get the super crisp lines, so I prefer the paint. Then I use a darker pink watercolor pencil and add some lines to the eyebrows to give some shading to the eyebrows, as my dark doll's hair has more than one color. After saving my progress and sealing, I use a peach colored watercolor pencil and add some lines to the eyelashes to give them some depth. I also go over my white watercolor pencil lines again. Then, using a dark pink acrylic paint, I paint on a line between the lips to separate them and give my girl a bit more of a smile. I use a toothpick and some tissue paper to remove any smudges. After sealing again, I add more color pastel to the lips and shaping them with my kneaded eraser. And I also once again add some color to the eyelids to darken the eyeshadow. And also I go over the white lines on the eyelids with the watercolor pencil. After sealing again, I take some iridescent nail art powder and spread it all over her face with a brush. Since the sealant will turn most of them invisible, it's better to add more rather than less. After sealing a final time, which means multiple layers to prevent damage and protect the face up, I gloss the lower lids with my gloss varnish, and then I mix some of the iridescent powder into my gloss varnish and put it on the lips and upper eyelids. The gloss takes a long time to dry properly, so I have to wait quite a bit. After the gloss dried, I add the upper 3D lashes with some craft glue. I spread the glue in the eyelid using a toothpick and slowly put the lashes in, and using another toothpick to help arrange and guide the positions. And because the gloss I use is super shiny, it makes her lips sometimes look oily, especially with the extra powder. So I add a layer of brush on matte sealant over the lips to dull the shine a bit. As an afterthought, I added some small nail art rhinestones at the ends of her eyes, just because I like bling, and it does not represent piercings. Thanks for watching my first face-up video. Hopefully by the next one I'll have a better camera setup. Bye.